Have you ever looked at one of these cards and wondered, hey, am I getting a good deal or am I just giving in to hype? Today we're going to discuss that and how it really depends on who you are in the hobby, whether you're a collector, a casual buyer, or an investor. Let's get into this topic. So on Monday, we talked about how the idea of a good deal is not a universally accepted idea. Depending on your goals of the cards is really going to dictate how good a deal really is to you. Today, I'm going to walk you through the three separate lenses and the three different ways to decide if a deal is right for you. So let's get into it. So the very first lens that you can look at is as a collector. Now, as a collector, a good deal is tied to some emotional value. Think about it like this. Sometimes a card might not be the cheapest, but if it's what you need to complete that master set, or if it's what you need to get that final Charizard, that final Gengar, what have you. And some of these cards are tied to your favorite childhood memories. And collectors often move slow, they take their time, they don't just rush into it, and they often invest in something because it has an actual meaning to them. Me, for instance. So the card I was holding at the start of this actually is one of my base set Charizards. I've had this card since I was a little boy. Charizard was always my favorite card, my favorite Pokemon, and not because it became so expensive, but because if you ever played Fire Red, you have three Pokemon that you choose from at the beginning, and I always thought the lizard with the fire tail was going to be the coolest. It turns into a giant dragon, like, come on. When I was playing the game, I ended up getting stuck on Brock, which is your very first gym leader, and having a fire Pokemon on Brock just made it was not a good time. Needless to say, I played against him so many times, I almost evolved my Charmander to a point that went past my trainer level. And actually, before I got my next badge, he was outside of the training level. So for me, that means something. So when I go to these card shows, or I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or whatnot, whatever, I'm usually looking at the Charizards. And the way I determine a good deal on Charizard is, what do I need to complete my collection, and what's the information I know about that particular card? Because I always believe in making an informed decision before just rushing in. Now, that leads into the second lens, the investing lens. Now, they treat cards like financial assets. You can hear it in the way they talk, the way they discuss it. They say words that honestly I never thought you would associate to an anime character. But they go in and they're analyzing the spreadsheets. They look at the previous sold. They look at the market trends. They look at the hype of these cards. They look at market scarcity, and they dive into all of that because their goal is to catch it on the wave. What they'll do is they never catch it at the peak. They always catch it in the dips. So usually when you see a product like Ascended Heroes will go, when it went from $100 ETB to 120, and then it jumped right down to 98, 95. That's when an investor is going to jump on it because they know it's not bottoming out. It just hasn't hit the rest of the cycle. And that's how they go about finding a good deal. They watch the market trends, they watch when the line goes up, and they try to catch it before it goes further. You'll hear Rudy with Alpha Investments. He talks about this in a lot better detail. If you haven't had a chance, phenomenal information, that guy. He's been in the hobby longer most of us has been alive. The one thing that I hear him talk about a lot is, you put a little bit of money in at this level, wait a little bit, put a little bit more money. If it goes up, put less money, but watch it. If it goes down, put more money. And that's how the investors do it. Or let's face it, that's how you maximize your money. Now, the third one, this is my favorite. And this is the people that, unfortunately, a bull market sucks for. I don't have a better way to put it. It just absolutely sucks for these people. The casual buyers. The people that just like opening packs of cards, they don't care about the value inside the packs. Now, do they like certain Pokemon? Absolutely. There's what? To date, there are 1,000 Pokemon. There's a Pokemon for everybody. So everybody has their favorite Pokemon and they like to see it. Like, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of casual collectors that if they open a Charizard, they're going to be ecstatic. But for them, it's not about just chasing cards or about chasing values or building their business portfolio. We're more concerned with enjoying the artwork, enjoying ripping packs, getting that nostalgia. Because let's face it, it is exciting when you can open up 5-10 packs, get a couple duds, and then have that one EX or that one big hit. I mean, come on, you're going to dance around the room. And unfortunately for them, when the market's crazy, prices are skyrocketing, and it is harder for them to find a good deal. So how do they find a good deal? Well, so for them, it's more budget focused. You got to understand, does the price make sense for the enjoyment? That's a hard one to say. Like for me, if I wanted to be lazy on this, I could just say being able to buy things at MSRP. But for them, it is difficult. I'm not even gonna lie. So for you guys out there that are casual collectors, I absolutely hate the way the market's going. Trust me, I'm doing everything in my power to get English products, so hopefully I can sell it at a reasonable price to people. A good deal to a casual collector is typically bundle deals, less popular boxes, like Perfect Order. Satisfy my own needs of opening packs of cards. For me, it was going to the Japanese and Korean market. I was able to buy a lot more cards, see the same art at a fraction of the price. And that's why, even on my store, I like carrying Japanese products and giving other people the option to get those as well. Now, I gave you kind of the breakdown of everything. Let's get into the practical side of it. So, if we're going to talk about the practical side, if you want to know if you're getting a really good deal, whether you're at a card show, eBay, TCG Player, whatnot, what have you. Now, whatnot's a little harder because you don't have the time to do this. But if you follow these steps, you will find that it's easier to get the cards that you want at a price you're going to be more content with. Don't ever go into it blind. You've got to understand the dynamic of these things. It's about hype. It's about emotions. It's about FOMO. When you go there and you're just like, man, I just want to get some cool cards. You're going to get some cool cards and you're going to pay one heck of a price for them. If you're wanting specific cards or a specific product, what I would highly recommend, and this is what I do my personal self, I research the cards. Like for instance, at the start of this, I showed you the Charizard. If I was to buy this today, the very first thing I would do is I would go on TCG Player and type this card in. I'm going to look at every listing. I'm going to look at how many sold, how frequently they sell, and I'm going to see what price they typically sell at. And then I'm going to go on eBay and I'm going to do the exact same thing. And then I'm going to go on the Collector app and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to have 3 different sources that's going to help me narrow down what the price is. Now I'm going to look at that price and I'm going to say, okay, is that a price I would actually be comfortable with? If it is, that's the goal. That's the target. And if it's not a price I'm comfortable with, I'm going to determine what is the appropriate price. And then I go into these shows, I go into these platforms with that already in mind. And I stick to the budget. That's very important. Stick to the budget. So when I go up to the table, I'm friendly, I'm nice, I'm going to have the conversation, we're going to talk about it. But at the same time, I know what I'm willing to pay and I see what they're offering. I will tell you this, pro tip, if you have a 2-day show, don't go on Saturday looking for that deal. Actually, I'll go ahead and tell you, a guy gave me advice one time and it worked flawlessly. His name's Pokey Pig. If you have an Instagram, go follow the guy. Great guy. Love him to death. But he gave me the advice one time, and actually, he's going to be on a podcast with me on Friday. But gave me the advice that if you go there, let's say it's a 2-day show, you go there right before it closes, people don't want to pack up their items because that means that their money is still tied up in inventory. So a lot of people, especially at the end of a card show, is more willing to negotiate. They're more willing to deal with you. So when you go there and do this, like I said, have that budget in mind. Do not start at that budget. If you make them an offer at that budget, they'll counter slightly higher. So always go a little bit lower than what you're willing to pay, and then land on your budget. And I promise you, you will get the cards that you want at the price that you're willing to pay. Because if you go in there and you give in to the hype, you give in to the emotions and all that, you're going to pay more. It's like on Whatnot. I see it all the time. People are paying 3, 4, 5 times what cards are worth because they got excited and they hit that button a little too many times. So, but for you, you have to determine, are you looking for long-term value? Are you looking for nostalgia? Are you looking for an investment? Each one of those different things will determine on what you're willing to pay for a card. Unfortunately, that I can't answer. So when you're determining what a good deal is, make sure you're looking at it from the appropriate lens on what your long-term goals are. Don't trust just some random guy on the internet. Trust what you want and go for what is comfortable to you. Because remember, sometimes people are just going to tell you to buy products because they sell the products. So remember, a good deal isn't just about price. It's really your goals, your style, and your experience in the hobby. So tell me, what lens do you use when you're deciding if it's a good deal or not? Comment below. I really want to know. I really want to know what other people are doing and what other people consider good deals are. Now remember, we are going to have a full podcast style discussion on this on Friday. If you get the chance, please see it. But until next time, goodbye.